Picture this. A man sits alone at a busy cafe. No phone in his hand. No anxious glance at messages. He's simply there, still, composed, content. Around him, others chase validation, endless scrolling, empty conversation. But this man, he needs nothing from anyone, and that makes him the most unsettling figure in the room. Why? Why does society fear a man who needs no one? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will change how you see yourself and the world forever. Section 1. The Lie Society tells you about independence. Here's the brutal truth no one dares to speak. Nearly everything in modern life, the apps you use, the shows you watch, the very conversations you hear, is designed to convince you of one thing. Without others, you are less worthy, less happy, less human. You're told that to be content, you must belong. That to feel whole, you must be loved. That to matter, you must be seen and validated by strangers, by friends, by society at large. And beneath this message lies a deeper agenda. Because a man who constantly seeks approval is easy to influence, a man who depends on connection is easy to manipulate. A man who craves belonging can be sold anything. And so, this belief is fed to you every day from advertisements whispering that happiness is one purchase away, to social media platforms training you to chase likes and comments for a fleeting sense of worth, to films and stories that glorify romantic love as the ultimate salvation. But what if none of this is true? What if a man who needs no one is not broken, but whole, not lonely, but free? And what if that freedom is so unsettling, so subversive, that society must brand him as dangerous, anti-social, arrogant, heartless, simply because he cannot be controlled? Because here is the reality. A man who is truly independent, who draws strength from within, is a threat to every system built on dependence. And once you see this, you can never unsee it. Section 2. Why society fears the self-sufficient man. Ask yourself this: why would a man who needs nothing from others provoke fear? After all, he harms no one. He seeks no validation. He asks for nothing. Yet his very presence unsettles the room, because a man who does not chase approval cannot be bought. A man who draws strength from within cannot be swayed. A man who is content in solitude cannot be manipulated. He stands apart, outside the game that most are trapped in. And that is what makes him dangerous. Because in his stillness, he reveals the noise in others. In his peace, he highlights their restlessness. In his independence, he exposes their dependence. And this terrifies people. Friends begin to resent his self-reliance. Colleagues question why he doesn't seek praise. Even family may label him distant, cold, or arrogant. Why? Because when a man refuses to play by society's rules, he forces others to confront their own chains, their constant craving for attention, their endless pursuit of external worth, their fragile identities built on fitting in. And in a world built on compliance, distraction, and consumption, a man who is truly free is the one thing society cannot tolerate. Because freedom is contagious. And a single man who stands alone plants a dangerous seed in the minds of others. What if I could live this way too? Section 3. Ancient Wisdom. Marcus Aurelius and Nietzsche. This isn't new. Men thousands of years ago understood the power and the danger of standing alone. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, the most powerful man on earth at the time. He could have surrounded himself with admirers. He could have sought endless praise and validation. But instead, he spent his nights alone, writing in a private journal for no one but himself. In those pages, he asked hard questions. He examined his motives, his fears, his weaknesses. He trained his mind to remain unshaken, no matter what others thought or said. He wrote, "All cruelty springs from weakness," because he knew those who lash out, those who crave control over others, are ruled by their own neediness. But a man who rules his own mind, who stands free of that need, cannot be controlled, not by fear, not by shame, not by the opinions of others. Centuries later, Friedrich Nietzsche faced the same truth. The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. He saw what most people still refuse to see, that society fears the man who thinks for himself, because the herd depends on agreement, on sameness, on shared illusions. But the man who questions, the man who shapes his own values, disrupts the illusion. And that is why he is feared. Marcus Aurelius knew it. Nietzsche knew it. And now, so will you. Section 4. The Psychology of the Dangerous Loner. Now let's get real. What's happening inside the mind of a man who stands alone, needing no one? It begins with this. He has broken free from approval addiction. Most people live for it. The constant search for validation, posting, liking, scrolling, craving those fleeting moments when someone, anyone, approves of them. But the dangerous loner, he no longer plays that game. He has found something deeper, a core of self-respect that no comment or like can touch. A quiet strength that comes from within, not from the eyes of others. Second, he has learned to sit with discomfort. Most people can't handle silence. They can't be alone with their thoughts, because in that silence, truths emerge, insecurities, regrets, fears, and for many, that is terrifying. So they run to distraction, to noise, to anything that spares them from facing themselves. But the dangerous loner, he has faced those truths. He's had those 3 a.m. conversations with himself. He's wrestled with his demons and emerged stronger. Third, he is immune to manipulation. When you no longer need approval, you cannot be bought. You cannot be swayed by trends. You cannot be controlled by fear of rejection. Society loses its grip on you. You become unshakable. And that, more than anything, is why the man who needs no one is feared. Section 5. The Marcus Aurelius Method. Strength through Solitude. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, commander of legions, ruler of millions, and yet, each night, he would retreat into solitude. No court, no advisors, no audience, just a man, alone with his thoughts and the pages of a private journal. But this was not idle reflection. It was discipline, a form of mental training, sharper than any sword. Each evening, Marcus asked himself hard questions. What did I desire today that I did not truly need? What fears crept into my mind and held power over me? Where did I compromise my values in pursuit of approval? This wasn't for display. No one would read these words. It was a ruthless confrontation with the self. Why? Because Marcus understood a timeless truth. A man who knows himself, his fears, his flaws, his desires, cannot be controlled by others. When you face your own shadows, when you strip away illusions, when you become brutally honest with yourself, you become immune to the shallow games of others. Their praise does not intoxicate you. Their rejection does not wound you. Their manipulation has no hold on you. This is strength through solitude. And in a world addicted to noise, to distraction, to external validation, such inner strength is rare and feared. Section 6, the Nietzsche problem. Creating your own values. Friedrich Nietzsche took this even further. He saw what few dared to admit. Most people drift through life, carrying values they never chose. They believe what their parents believed. They follow what their culture tells them is right. They adopt the moral code of the crowd without question. Why? Because it is easier. Because thinking for yourself is uncomfortable. But the man who stands alone, who no longer fears solitude, begins to ask, why do I believe this? Who taught me to think this way? Who profits from my obedience? What would I value if I had to rebuild from nothing? These are dangerous questions, because when you begin to answer them, you stop living someone else's life. You stop being predictable. You stop being a pawn in someone else's game. A man who creates his own values cannot be bought by consumer trends, cannot be silenced by popular opinion, cannot be manipulated by guilt or shame. He becomes, in the truest sense, sovereign. And in a world that thrives on conformity, on sameness, on obedience, a sovereign man is the greatest threat of all. Section 7, loneliness versus solitude, the power of being alone. Let's be clear. There is a profound difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is a hunger, a sense that something vital is missing. That without the attention, approval, or presence of others, you are somehow incomplete. It is a need that drives men to chase endlessly, to fill the void they seek, relationships they don't truly want, friendships that drain them, distractions that numb the mind. A lonely man is a vulnerable man. He is easily swayed, easily sold to, easily controlled. And here's the truth. Society thrives on lonely men because lonely men are obedient. They consume, they conform, they comply. But solitude, true solitude, is something very different. Solitude is strength. It is the ability to stand whole and unshaken, in silence, to sit with your thoughts and not run from them, to find peace, not in others, but within yourself. The man who embraces solitude is free. He does not chase. He does not crave. He does not fear being alone because he is not empty. And this, above all, terrifies society because thinking men, self-reliant men, are impossible to control. They cannot be bribed with attention. They cannot be swayed by trends. They cannot be broken by isolation. They are dangerous. Section 8. The 4 Pillars of Dangerous Solitude. So what makes solitude dangerous? What transforms a man who stands alone into a man who is feared, respected, and free? After studying the great minds, from Marcus Aurelius to Nietzsche, 4 core pillars emerge. Master these, and you will no longer be shaped by the world. You will shape it. 1. Radical self-honesty. Most people lie to themselves every single day about who they are, about what they want, about why they do what they do. But the dangerous man does not flinch. He faces his desires. He confronts his fears. He examines his failures with brutal honesty, with no excuses, with no illusions. And this clarity makes him immune to manipulation. When you no longer lie to yourself, no one else can lie to you. Second, value independence. Most people live by values they never chose, taught by family, reinforced by culture, dictated by trends. But the dangerous man questions everything. He examines his beliefs. He discards what is false. He builds a moral code based on truth, experience, and reason. He lives by this code, regardless of popular opinion. Such a man cannot be shamed. He cannot be guilted into obedience. He is free. 3. Emotional self-sufficiency. Most people chase emotional highs, flee from discomfort. They depend on others for validation, for reassurance, for a sense of worth. But the dangerous man needs none of this. He is his own source of strength. He can sit with pain without running. He can face rejection without crumbling, because he knows his worth is not determined by others. It is forged within. 4. Intellectual courage. Most people fear thinking, fear questioning, fear the consequences of seeing the truth. But the dangerous man seeks it. He asks the questions others avoid. He challenges the beliefs others cling to. He follows truth wherever it leads, even if it isolates him, even if it costs him status, even if it forces him to stand alone. This is true courage, the courage of the mind. And when combined with radical self-honesty, value independence, and emotional self-sufficiency, it creates a man who cannot be controlled, a man who is dangerous in the best possible way. Section 9. The price of being dangerous. Let's not pretend this path is easy. There is a price for true independence. When you stop needing others, when you refuse to play the game, when you walk your own path, you will be misunderstood. Some will call you arrogant. Some will label you antisocial. Some will resent your strength because it exposes their weakness. You will lose friendships, not because you push people away, but because those built on neediness will wither. You will face pressure to conform. Subtle and not so subtle, the world will try to pull you back into the herd, to make you like everyone else. And at times, you will feel isolated, not lonely, but separate. And that is the price. But here's the truth. The price of conformity is far higher. Because when you surrender your independence, you lose your soul. Section 10. Why society fears the self-sufficient. Now ask yourself, why does society fear this so much? Why are self-sufficient men so rare and so quickly attacked? Here's why. Economic, a man who is content within himself, does not buy what he doesn't need. He is not easily seduced by trends, brands, or empty status symbols, and that makes him a bad consumer, which threatens entire industries. Social hierarchies depend on people caring about status. But when a man stops caring, he steps outside the game. He becomes unpredictable, immune to praise, immune to shame. Political democratic systems often rely on shaping public opinion. But a man who thinks for himself, who stands apart from the herd, is far harder to influence. He votes his conscience, not his conditioning. Psychological. Your strength will make others uncomfortable because your independence will remind them of their dependence. Your peace will expose their inner turmoil. Your freedom will highlight their cage. And this is why the world fears men who need no one. Section 11. The modern Stoic. How to build dangerous solitude. So how do you begin this path? How do you become the kind of man who needs no one and fears nothing? Start small. 1. Spend time alone, without distractions. No phone, no music, no screens, just you and your thoughts. Begin with 10 minutes. Work your way up. Learn to sit in silence. Learn to listen to your own mind without running. 2. Practice evening reflection. Like Marcus Aurelius, spend time each evening asking yourself, what did I do today that was not aligned with my values? What did I fear and why? Where did I seek approval instead of self-respect? This builds awareness. This builds strength. 3. Question your beliefs. Like Nietzsche, do not simply accept what you've been told. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Who benefits from me believing it? What would I value if I had to start from scratch? 4. Build your inner life. Find activities you enjoy alone. Reading, walking, thinking, creating. Develop a mind that is rich without needing the noise of the world. 5. Stop seeking validation. This is the hardest, but most powerful. Stop chasing approval. Stop needing to be seen. Let your worth come from within. Master these steps, and you will walk the path of the dangerous man. Section 12. The paradox of dangerous solitude. Here's the great irony. The man who does not need others becomes the one others are drawn to. The man who is whole on his own is magnetic. When you stop chasing validation, when you stop craving approval, when you build peace and strength within, people notice. Not because you are trying to be noticed, but because true independence is rare and deeply attractive. Relationships change. When you no longer need them, you choose them. And that choice makes them stronger, healthier, more authentic. Friendships deepen when they are not built on desperation. Work becomes more fulfilling when you no longer crave approval. Life itself becomes richer when you stop living for others. This is the paradox. The man who needs no one is the one others respect most. Section 13, the call to dangerous living. So here is the challenge. Become dangerous. Not in the sense of harming others, not in the shallow sense of posturing, but dangerous in the sense of being impossible to control. Dangerous in the sense of thinking for yourself, of standing alone, of drawing strength from within. Dangerous in the sense of living by your own values, with clarity, with courage, because this is what the world truly needs. Men who cannot be bought, men who cannot be manipulated, men who cannot be silenced, men who are whole in themselves. If this spoke to you, if it struck something deep inside, you already know. The path is in front of you. All that remains is to walk it. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Stoic wisdom. See you in the next video.